is Irene Kwangaba. I go to UC San Diego. I'm level 400 and I'm studying human development.
Hi, my name is Bhavya. I go to UC Santa Barbara. I'm studying sociology with a dual minor in women, culture, and development and applied psychology.
Hello, my name is Blessing Moritz. I go to San Francisco State University and I study communication studies with a minor in international relations.
My name is Niali Seka. I'm an information technology major and I go to school at the University of Ghana.
My name is Nadede Kofi. I'm a student from the University of Ghana and my major is French and linguistics.
My name is Mike Noon. I go to Cal State Northridge and I major in geography with a minor in political science.
I'm a judge in pharma for level 300, University of Ghana.
My name is Michal Alasfor. I'm a fifth year philosophy major and I go to UC Santa Barbara.
My name is Nana Kojo. I'm studying nutrition and food science at the University of Ghana. I'm in level 400.
This is my first time being a student assistant. It's been fun and educative because there are some things in my country that I didn't even know of, but before I met like any Americans, like I thought you guys were very weird, silly, I don't know, kind of annoying. I'm being candid. But after like having an interaction with you guys, it's kind of changing, but sometimes I feel you guys are annoying with your questions. So before I became a student assistant, my perception about American students were they are going to be so different from me as an African, because from where they are coming from, they'll be more like everything should be done at the right time because they work with time, and it's not so much like here for us, and they expect to reach what they want, and that was what I was expecting more. But it's kind of like fun now because I see different kind of expectation now. With you guys are cool with everything, you understand, you compromise and stuff like that.
I grew up in a remote area where you only see foreigners when there's an inauguration of a building or something, and they always come as the financiers of the whole project, or the sponsors of the whole project. So before I got into the university to actually interact with foreign students, I always saw them as they have a whole lot of money, like because as a child growing up, I always saw them as financiers of programs. So I had a perception, that's the kind of perception I had growing up. So whenever I see a foreigner, I'm like, this dude might be rich, you know. But when I interacted with them, I found out they're just like us. They're just like us.
Sociology and language center. Speak the same, in the same kind of language. We view the world in a certain light the same, we can step out of this culture and look at it from outside and see things that we think are very, very beautiful and things that people would take for granted, and we see things that we don't like that other people cooperate with all the time, due to the fact that it's just societal and cultural.
As the former president of the Americans, that is President Obama.
Some were like, oh my gosh, like that's so cool. Like you're so bold for doing that. And then other people were like, why do you want to go to Ghana? Like, why don't you go like Europe or things like that? So there was kind of like mixed feelings.
My friends were so happy. Like, yeah, like this is exactly what you wanted, because I talk about this nonstop about like when I'm finally gonna go back home. And then like the reaction on my family side was kind of odd, because like when I told my uncle that I got accepted into the program, he was like, why did you choose Ghana?
A lot of people were confused. They didn't really understand why I chose Ghana, or any African country for that matter, especially when I had Europe as an option.
They didn't really understand why I would want to go to Ghana. Some people were like, that's so cool, that's amazing, you're gonna have a great time, you're gonna learn so much. And then other people were like, what's in Ghana? They have a university there? What? People study? What? And so it was a lot of cultural stereotypes that were coming out in people's reactions, which was really interesting to see.
They were very encouraging. They said that's not very usual. And they applauded me for it, for doing something that most people don't do.
To go, you know, from the comfort of the regularity in America to coming here, you know, I'm with a group of kids in a similar situation than me, but I feel like we're all still kind of on our own in that sense. So like going to the night market by myself and like trying to order food in a new kind of like order that I'm not used to, and you know, I have to pay behind the place, and like my accent, it's hard for people to understand me sometimes, so it's very like, it induces a lot of anxiety in me, but like at the same time, once I overcome those experiences, like riding a trotro alone for the first time, like it's very, it's made me trust myself a lot more to navigate certain situations.
People were talking about bucket showers, and I was like, what the heck? A bucket shower? Like, what? What is this concept? So I think like that first couple weeks, or like the first week, it was a struggle to like take a shower. Like obviously I showered, like I'm not gross or anything, but like I was really like it would take me like 5 minutes to just like soak my whole body into the cold water. I start with like my legs, and then I put like my little washcloth and I like sprinkle water on, and I was like, I'm so terrible. I couldn't communicate with like my family, and at that moment in time I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm all by myself. And even though like I was familiar with like you, for example, and like a couple people from UCSD, I didn't know anybody. So I think the culture shock that I experienced was like, oh my gosh, like how am I can't just like, I was like, oh, okay, I don't have my Uber app working because like I don't have Wi-Fi, so how am I gonna just get to campus? And like the concept of a tro-tro was also culture shock, because I was like, how am I just gonna get into like a random like bus with like random people and like just pay them some money? Like I don't even know like where they're taking me. I'm still in this like stage where I'm like, oh, I'm in Ghana, but I'm not really, like I don't really know like I'm in Ghana type thing, if that makes sense.
Possible, can it be possible? Watch that.
I, for whatever reason, did not expect to experience any nightlife here, and maybe that's just because I wasn't planning on participating in it myself before coming. But definitely like the first couple of weeks when the student assistants took us out, I was like pretty shocked at like, also like Ghanaians really know how to dance, and it's really intimidating, but it's amazing seeing them do it.
It's been pretty disorienting, I'll say. I'm somebody who really depends on familiarity and having routine. So with so much unfamiliarity, that's been very stressful. But I'm thankful to have great people that I live with at Ish and Volta and Lagon, and students in my classes, Ghanaian students, have reached out to me a lot, and that really helps me how I feel like fitting in on campus.
And when Auntie Rose talked about how here people who are older than you are called aunties and uncles, and that just, it stood out to me, because whenever I go visit my friends, being African, I always call my best friend mom auntie, and like some people just don't like that aspect of it. So being a culture where I can be free to call a random person auntie and uncle already, like, it's just, yeah.
When I heard about the guns, like it's easy for young people to get access to guns, it was really shocking to me, because it's not so much like that here. Even though people do armory and violent stuff, but I was so shocked that young kids could have access to guns.
I'm always surprised with the American culture. Like all the time, I'm getting to find out new stuff about the American culture. But the most shocking, can I say experience? Yeah, with American culture is the level of individualism. Yeah, and how materialistic the Americans are, from my perspective, because in my country, like Ghana, everybody's like, okay, so it's a community, we help each other out, we want to get married, we want to have kids. We don't really think about like job. As a lady, I'm mostly thinking about, oh, after school I have to have a family, settle down, like have the procreation going on. Like for me, I have ambitions, but I don't. My ambitions for the for jobs and for money is not that intense as my ambition for a family.
My experiences with American students has been very, it's different than Ghanaian students. It's similar to people from other African countries, but it's different from Ghanaian students, I'd say. My experiences with American students are mostly fun, They're entertaining, they're thought-provoking, they're sometimes they get out of hand, yes, but they're most of the time they're good experiences. Like when I was speaking as though to Ghanaian students and saying how contrary it was to them, I was referring to the fact that they're more mild, more timid, more reserved, they're less wild, they're more uptight, they kind of they conform a lot to social norms, and they care a lot about what other people think about them, which we don't put a lot of emphasis on what other people think about us. Like, we're just gonna live our life our best way and be us ourselves, because like when it comes down to it, you're not living life for anybody else but yourself. That's something that they're yet to discover. I hope they will soon.
It's amazing seeing foreign students around. I really love it because not everybody has a chance to travel somewhere else to experience life, but sometimes you get to experience how life is being lived in other places by virtue of meeting somebody who has actually lived there before. So I think seeing international students gives me a feeling that globalization is really in effect, where you find a little bit of every country in every country.
Ghana is certainly slower paced than America. In America, I always feel like I'm one step behind everybody, but you know, I enjoy the long walks to class. I enjoy the fact that everybody's not so punctual. In America, you know, it's like your friends and your family, and then there's strangers out there that you don't talk to. But here, like, I can't survive unless I rely on people to help me out. So everywhere I'm going, I don't hesitate to ask people for help, and they're more than willing to help me every time.
The American culture that I was kind of raised in taught me to fear, to distrust like melanin a lot. And being here where I'm surrounded by it, but also surrounded by the most friendly people that I've ever come in contact with before, has definitely taught me just not to judge and just to be open regardless of what people look like, to be open and friendly to them, because they'll most likely reciprocate it, at least here.
Everyone here is really friendly. I especially love meeting the women. There's like a sense of resilience about them that it's pretty admirable. Especially the ones at the night market. Like, they'll have their kids on their back and they'll be like conversing with everyone, and like the level of like hard work that I just like see every average Ghanaian putting in here, I don't know, it just makes me be like really thankful for like the life that I have, and like makes me like really like realize like what it takes to you know, have a sustainable sort of lifestyle in like different parts of the world.
Out here is so different. It's so different. Like, you see, like, the students walk into class, they take their own time. Like, they walk so slow, and they walk with emotion. I'm just like, I can never get on that level. Like, even when I try to walk slow, me walking slow is like me walking fast for them. So it's just like, they do it so much better here, where between 12 and 5, people just relax because that's when the sun is up the most. So like, you see people and you see like the bonds that people have with each other, and how like respectful the culture is, how like cultural rise. I don't know, like they pay respect to their ancestors and they pay respect to their culture and know who they are and where they come from. So that's a part of the Ghanaian society that I really enjoy.
It's very important to have student assistants that are like on call to all the other students regularly, due to the fact that like students have a lot of problems adjusting to this campus, so they need immediate friends, somebody who can talk to them about it, walk with them around campus, show them the ropes. And also I think that sometimes students are facing problems and like they're not comfortable enough to talk to the staff about it, and like they need people who they see as their peers to talk about certain things like that, because they might find it uncomfortable talking with adults about it.
They rely on me so much, especially when it comes to cases they need psychological help, emotional help. Like, we talk a lot. It's not just about Ghana. They also share family stuff with me. I also share my experiences with them. So yeah, we kind of rely a lot, and mostly in academics too, because most of the academic stuff they come to do here, or the research they come to do, they need to know about Ghanaian, and so I help them also. So they kind of rely on me with that.
Are you okay? Yeah? Okay.
I love Didi a lot. We often share piece of information, advice on how we will cope with life, so that if someone offends us, we shouldn't try to retaliate. We should just stay calm and focus in life. And we should also try to help other people who also come our way, because one day we may need help. You've really got a very good friend, and she teaches a lot if you don't know. And she being an assisting student is going to help you a lot. And I really love that about her. I can really testify from that. And I love to be her roommate.
I'm the last born out of 6 children. I'm the last born, and I don't have anybody to take care of. So having you guys to take care of, I felt kind of like a big sister, you get it? So I felt happy helping.
I tried talking to a few foreign students around, like, hey, hi, hello. It looks like they just go by, hey, hi, and they just pass by, hi. Nobody seems to be willing to have a little conversation, because you probably said hi for a reason. So I called one person and I'm like, can I have a minute? And she said, yeah. So I asked a simple question. Do you guys have any training program that says that be careful who you talk to, because blacks probably are very harmful? And she said, no, it's not like that. There are individual differences, but they just teach us to how to live with people around here. But there are people who just don't like to really socialize a lot because of personal reasons. So that's different. So I began to ask, okay, so how long have you been around? And she made mention, she even taught voluntary work in my hometown, which is a remote area. And that felt like the best experience I've ever had with an international student, because it was easy to relate. She felt so happy talking to me. I felt so happy talking to her. And this is Mira, who became my best friend later on.
said, doth not return. There was a door here, one in the middle, and the last one. They'll bring those Africans here. They'll lock the 3 doors. They will not give them food, no water, no light till the time they died. So this was a death cell, condemned cell. This one had 200 people at a time, 200 men. And this light wasn't here. That was why I switched off the light briefly, so I can have a feel of the original situation.
Going through each room and seeing like how my ancestors were treated and how people that look like me are still treated in the States and everywhere else in the world. It was just so impactful to me that my life isn't lived for just me alone. It's like I carry all of them with me as I go, as I speak, as I interact with people. Like those people who didn't have the chance to be, humans, to be treated like decent humans. I take all of them with me everywhere I go.
For the women to go in the bridge, when you got the women, you multiply in the millions. So when you got a new production,
so the slave castle was definitely emotionally intense, but I think that it's an experience that anyone who can should come and experience because it really humanizes you and like puts a lot of things into perspective.
it means out of the millions taken away, 2 came. And that is telling us that at least once in our lifetime, we should come back to Ghana and go through the door of return.
I could feel like the presence of like my cousins, you know, like these are my brothers and sisters from like way back ago who were forcibly taken from their land, robbed of their history, robbed from their culture for white people's benefit. Like it was terrible. So that was something that I'm still processing, and I don't know how to continue to process that per se, but it was just very, very, like it's an experience that I will never forget.
In as much as colonialism helped improve the civilizations, even though there was civilization, but the global standard of civilization, that aspect, it was okay because there was a positive thing that was introduced into society. But when you look at the other humanitarian side, it was the worst thing that ever happened in history because people were treated as animals that had. Even animals have been treated okay because we respect that they have life, but people were treated as things that do not breathe, which was, I think, the worst experience my grandfathers had. So, if I'm supposed to make a conclusion on that, I think colonialism is terrible because human beings are very dynamic. They might start with good intention, but when they see that opportunity is there, they tend to misuse a whole lot of opportunities they have. So if they see like they've been able to conquer a place, then they tend to see the things they can feed on if still they have the power. So if I'm going that direction, I would say colonialism is a terrible thing. Yeah, but in terms of introducing culture and other things, helping in improving technology and all that, it would have been the best thing that would happen. Because not everybody had the chance to travel to other places and all that. And most people don't have their affairs being managed so well. But through colonialism, it helped develop places, improve on developing places, standard of living. Yeah, but still, it's a terrible thing because we are humans.
I like to classify myself as a mixed breed. My dad is from the Ashanti region, specifically the Asumaso. My mom is from the Eastern region and the Brown Hafo region. I think in the Brown Hafo region, I'm from Techiman or Jaso, one of these towns. And in the Eastern region, I'm from Kwo, Ebitifi.
As for me, I'm a Ghan, and Ghans, we live in Accra, and we have so many cultural activities we do. We celebrate a festival called Homowo Festival, which means shooting at hunger. And when we are celebrating this, we celebrate it during the month of August, and we eat food like pokpoi, which we give it to the gods because we are shooting at hunger. We also have a beautiful dance called Pan Logo, and we don't joke with that dance when we hear the beats of the drums.
I'm from Seattle, Washington, originally. Moved to Ghana when I was 3. Grew up in Kaswa in Ghana, and now I'm here on campus.
I'm an Akan, and Akan is like the largest culture in Ghana. Okay, we have different cultural systems in Ghana, but the Akan is the largest so far, and it comprises of the Equapams, we have the Achim, we have the Ashantis, and then we have the Fantis. Okay, but they all speak Twi, except Twi is the name of the language that I can't speak, except there's a little variation in the language. Yeah, so I'm an Akan, and I'm half Ashanti and half an Achim. My culture believes in the family system. It gives much respect and much attention to family. It does not just include the nuclear family, it's the whole extended family, uncles, aunties, nieces, all these people, they actually play a significant role in every single member of the family, their lives. So that's something I'm very proud of. Communities come about as a result of little families. Okay, so if we are supposed to live in a community where everybody is living in a nuclear system, nobody really cares what's going on with the other family, there wouldn't be so much peace, like community fun, harmony. There wouldn't be that connection. But if you're living in a community where everybody is related to somebody in a way, you all respect that and know the fact that this is my family. It gives you that that emotional connection to the person. So it makes you people live in a more harmonized way.
So much conscious of the competition of wanting to be better in what they're doing. Most people, everything you find in a traditional home.
Is in here? Are we good?
Yeah, we good. So, welcome to the Crompton Hills Palace.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Aquaba. Medase. Medase pa. Aquaba. Medase. Medase.
This is the function. I think you are studying it.
Yeah.
The air can say, this is across, high across. This is continuous part, as you can see from here. Now I am continuing of across. Continuing of across. So when we say continuing, I'm the head of the chief of this town. That's the meaning of continuing, the head chief of the town. That is one point.
That is.
We share every fortnight. I know na yebo. So me menda. So the whole house is also fortnightly, every fortnight. After so it means the ASM on small. Say before we.
This is played for a particular style of dancing.
KT.
Yeah, KT.
KT.
Or Adwa. Yeah.
Adwa.
Yeah. Every clan has a special tool, and is a tool that the leader is being chosen from. Like the name of the leader comes from the tool. Okay, there's two, and that tool it's more like it symbolizes the entire clan. Okay.
Just the door?
Yes, just the door.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's
Oh,
the
that's
entrance to the
storeroom.
storehouse.
Ooh.
You see how it's locked?
Yeah.
You can capture everything there. So in the clan, they have 7 houses, 7 heads of families. So 7 different houses that came together, and then it formed the tribe that we have. Okay.
We know a kente cloth, and a beast, and a necklace. We know a jabot. Thank you.
The main source of income is the cocoa. Yeah. So every family has something that they sell as in the cocoa. And this is seasonal. A lot of bush growing inside. So yeah, because of that it seems to dry up. Because rivers like free flow. Last year it rained to the point that the main road we couldn't cross because it overflowed.
My name is Nana Kweku.
Nana Kweku? Nice to meet you.
From Pong.
Midinde Moriah.
Moriah.
Yeah.
Moriah.
This is my old lady is Adwadonko.
Adwadonko.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
It's about 80 years now.
Wow. And you're still making cocoa beans.
51.
So I have a friend who's Ghanaian, and before I really knew him well, he would ask me for money sometimes, and I got kind of annoyed and uncomfortable, and I just wanted him to leave me alone, and he would ask me to help him out, and I got so frustrated that I decided I wanted to confront him and tell him to leave me alone. So one day I went up to him and I asked him why he was asking me for money, and without hesitation he told me that it was because he had nothing and he had no support, and we talked a lot after that about just his background
and his life and his family and the struggles that he goes through. And I eventually came to a much greater understanding of his life and his situation, and I'm really thankful for that. So, and I don't think it would have happened unless I had given him the opportunity to explain to me.
You know, back home, there's not as much of a welcoming vibe. Obviously, there are nice people around, but it's much different to like approach just anybody on the street and just ask them for assistance. Like, I need to get here. And they might help you, but you know, a person here will take time out of their day to walk you like a mile to get to the building you need to get to. A complete stranger, and you'll have fantastic, you know, conversation on the way, and then they drop you off and you have a new friend. That doesn't happen in my experience in the US, so I think I'm gonna miss that level of like sociability.
Being here just really helped me understand my parents a lot more, because I was in one situation where I was talking to this girl who I do my internship with, and she's Canadian. And she was telling me about her host family, and she was telling me that she has 2 host sisters, and how they're not really allowed to go out and do a lot of things. And one of her host sisters called her one day, and she's like, "Oh, I'm at the beach," when she was supposed to be at school, but she told her parents she was working on a group project. And we were just talking about how, to us, it's so crazy that they have to lie about just going to the beach when that is something we definitely take for granted. And just that kind of made me realize, like, growing up, my parents would always be like, you always like push it, like we let you do one thing and then you just want to run with it, and like, you know, you're never happy with what we give you. And I never really understood why they would say that, because it didn't make sense to me, but kind of just having that conversation with my friend, like, kind of made me understand, or like get a little glimpse of like the cultural context that my parents grew up in, and why they say the things that they have, or why they act or don't act a certain way. So it's been really, really helpful in that sense. And it's also kind of made me appreciate what I have a lot more, because now I understand why they always said I don't appreciate things. Well, because I had no idea. I didn't have the cultural context for it.
I feel like I've had much more appreciation, and also at the same time, like, I wish I knew more about like my Congolese background. So appreciation in the fact that like I find a lot of similarities with like Ghanaian culture to my Congolese background, like how everybody really like is out here to help each other, like how we call each other like auntie, uncle, brother, sister. The foods are very similar, like fufu. I was like, I know fufu, like it's cool, you know, and like even the way that we dress is very similar too. But again, also like I wish that I knew like my native tongue more, like because I'm really not fluent in it, and like hearing people like speaking Chi here, and like being able to just switch from like English to Chi or like another dialect is something that's really like fun and cool. But like I can't really switch like dialects or like languages like that, just because I wasn't like I just missed out on that opportunity to know my home language. So I feel like my cultural identity has been like I feel more affirmed in like my Congolese-ness, but also I feel like I have more of a longing to learn more about my ancestry, like my history, and also just my culture.
I feel like the Ghanaian culture and the Liberian culture is fairly similar, just because, like, again, we're one country away. But like in other aspect of it being different, it's like the food that we eat is extremely different. Like, even though it's like the same thing grow on the soil, but like they just don't eat the same thing. We eat different things and stuff like that. And then it's so interesting and beautiful to me how like the chiefs from each community or each community within Ghana plays a role in the government, but within Liberia, the chiefs from each like tribal group don't play a role in the government. They only play a role in their little area of land that they have, which is interesting to me and different.
times when you are working, your friends are like, hey, now you deal with Americans, so you mean you have a lot of cash, you have dollars, which probably may not be the truth. And sometimes when I'm working with these Americans and we are going to the market to bargain, my fellow Ghanaians may think I'm teaching you guys not to buy their things at the price they want to. So it sometimes affects me socially, the way people assume it to be. I feel bad at a point, but sometimes I feel like they don't know. So the assumption is just their mentality.
Good, you're good, yeah.
I think colonialism is still present, but it's being practiced in a way that if you're not so conscious, you wouldn't realize. For example, people are giving aid to certain countries in a way that indirectly they are taking control of most of the affairs of the countries. They are colonizing the country bit by bit, now not without machine guns, wars, but now with resources. So people are being colonized in terms of resources. But, well, we hope, I just hope that it doesn't get to the point where machine guns come in. So, yeah, colonialism still exists. Yeah.
I don't know if it's been done intentionally, but it seems that anytime we go out, the attention is more on the Obranis than it is on us. And it sucks, and it's just like, okay, you go to a place, maybe you're sitting there and someone will walk up to you and wouldn't talk to you and just go like, oh, hi, and like acknowledge the Obrani, and you just be left there like you're nobody, like you're just there. And it's like, okay, what's going on here? We are sitting here as a group, at least say hello to everybody, but just go straight up. And have you had that experience? Yeah, so it's heartbreaking sometimes.
Somebody walked up to me and then said, I wanna meet the chief. And I said, what you mean you wanna meet the chief? And they're like, yeah, the paramount chief, I wanna meet them and say hello to them. And I was like, what do you mean you wanna meet the paramount chief and say hello to them? What does that mean? Nobody don't just walk up to the paramount chief to say hello. That don't make no sense. You can stand in a crowd and wave, but you're not gonna walk up to them and shake their hand or nothing like that. That's disrespectful. And they're like, oh, I thought. I was like, no, you didn't think. You need to relax. This is a culture. You have to sit down and observe what people are doing. And if the people who are from there don't do it, why you, a different person from a different part of the world, think you can do it?
before I was like, dang, things need to be punctual so that, and like I was really anal about like being punctual, but then I'm just like, if it's 15 minutes, it's fine. If it's 20 minutes, it's fine. Like we're still gonna have a fun time in the process of it, like just live in the moment. I really enjoy how people live here, and I feel like I really vibe with this. And sometimes back in the States, I feel like everything's a competition and like there's no break, you know? I'm not saying that like here, like it's not the same or whatever, but like everything just seems very time sensitive, and you're like on the timeline to do something, and at this particular time. And I'm also gonna just be like, wow, like I'm not surrounded by people who look like me anymore. Like, whoa, like I'm black again, and people are gonna make sure that I'm black in like the not so positive way. Whereas here, like we're all the same skin color. We're not all the same skin color, but like we are black, but like we all have like an ethnic identity and like uniqueness in that, and people celebrate the beauty of blackness.
Now I feel like no matter what I do, no matter what career I choose or path I take in life, I'll always know like how much privilege I have and power I have, an ability to do good for others because of how much I've been given. I cared a lot about going out on the weekends and having a good time with my friends. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was sort of selfish. And I think those priorities still prevail, at least at my school, in the general culture of the school. So finding what I prioritize and what I want to spend my time and money on is going to be something that I'm going to face when I'm back.
Being here and experiencing this new mix of cultures in Ghana has definitely changed my perspective on my own culture. I would say seeing the way that people here are raised and some of the cultural values that they've been given, and the fact that I can identify them as cultural values because they differ from my own, lets me identify my cultural values and see what were some of the things that maybe I think are just the way things are supposed to be because they were so ingrained by my culture. And now that I see that other people can view them differently, it lets me kind of break away from what I was conditioned to in my own culture and kind of pick and choose what works for me in my life.
People in Ghana are just very accepting of their bodies as they are. Like, for example, girls don't shave their legs. And my friends have asked me why I do that, and I don't really know what to tell them other than that's just kind of how we're supposed to be back home in the States, which has been really, really interesting. So just kind of like being comfortable with myself and not constantly criticizing myself for the way I look or the way I act, and just letting myself be has been really, really relieving. I'm really excited to take back just kind of the person that I am, because this is the happiest and healthiest I've felt in a very long time for various reasons. But I think the constant growth that I've felt and experienced being here has been really, really important. And I'm a little nervous because I'm scared to go back into an environment that I wasn't this person in, and I'm scared that that will kind of pull me back or take away from me everything that I experienced here. But I'm also excited to see what that process is going to look like, because I'm pretty determined not to lose that.
I'm gonna miss walking around on a university campus and seeing like all black people, and like once in a blue moon I would see like a European, someone from Europe or somewhere, and I'm like, oh, you're the minority out here. Like there's nothing that I'm not gonna miss. Like being out here, I feel like I'm gonna have a really bad like reverse culture shock. Like being out here, there was no culture shock or nothing like that. I'm like, oh, I'm back. Like going back, it's gonna be so hard. And like one thing out here, nobody have asked me, can you repeat yourself? Like, and that's something, like in the States when I first moved to the state, I would ask that a lot. Oh my God, can you say that again like 3 or 4 times? So it got to a point where I'm like, if you don't hear me on the second try, then you don't hear what I'm gonna say, right? So I'm not looking forward to people asking me, can you repeat what you just said? And I'm hoping by the time I get there, my accent is thicker.
You guys, one for all, understand how to maneuver in society here, right? You know how to get around. You understand a lick of the language at least. You have friends. You have people that will invite you to go out with them and stuff. You've grown into a community and you respect their culture and they respect yours because they're trying to get to know you and you're just trying to get to know them in their own space. So I think the growth would be like adapting to and understanding somebody else's culture, at least to some extent.
I want to be an ambassador, and being an essay has really helped me because I get to interact with people with different cultures. Not everybody that belongs to like the same religious background and everything. So it has helped me know how to behave with this particular group of people and what to say at the right time and what not to say. So yeah, it has helped me a lot.
This essay job has really brought in some potentials out of me because I didn't know much about foreign people, how to talk to them, how to approach them, or even say hi to them. But since we travel, we go on road trips, someone comes to me and like, hi, hey, my name is this, and I'm like, okay, I flow with the person, we talk. So learning from that, I also approach people, tell them, hey, I'm this, I'm not, I have my family living here and blah, blah, blah. We talk about things about Ghana most especially, and sometimes even about America. So I think it has taken out some shyness out of me. I'm able to approach people and talk to them.
Yes, seeing that I've realized a lot. So if I get the opportunity, I would love to be an assistant student because it's a really great help to people.
Whenever I visit a Ghanaian friend, they'll like always provide me with something like food, and even if it's somebody who has less than I have, they'll just like give me their bowl with their plate with their dinner and be like, here, you're invited, like without even thinking about it. And so growing up, I didn't have many guests in my house, and so being a good host is something that I've been working on, and it's been a great learning experience being here.
Just the kind of sense of comfort that I've grown to experience here. I personally have never really felt out of place here, and part of that's because Ghanaian culture is similar to the culture that I'm used to, so I never really felt like it was a really big transition that I had to make. I kind of just felt like I was coming into something that felt familiar, but I wasn't immersed in for long periods of time, so it was still a little not familiar, if that makes sense. So just kind of, I don't know, everything. It's hard to say one thing. The people, the food. I was in Nigeria for 2 weeks, and I didn't think I would miss Accra that much in my life, but oh my God, when we drove back into the city after 2 weeks of being gone, the entire bus was cheering, and like, it was crazy. It literally felt like coming home. And the sense of relief was really unexpected, but a really nice feeling. So I can't say one thing. It's everything. It's the people, it's the food, it's the culture, I don't know, it's just Ghana.
He's a friend. He knows the way. I'm most thankful for the experience of it all. Like, I couldn't possibly begin to pick one aspect of it because it's all tied together. Like, the fact that I'm able to be spending a year of my life, like, in Ghana, like on the west coast of Africa, that is so cool. I'm so thankful for that experience. Like, everything I'm gaining here, even the unpleasantries, like all the happiness, hurt, pain, everything, like I'm gaining so much from it. So I couldn't begin to like pick something here to be the most thankful for. Just everything is amazing.
Making that transition from the States all the way to Ghana, West Africa, it was different, it was new. I didn't really know much about the States, but like now I'm older, I appreciate it more. Growing up in Ghana as opposed to growing up in Seattle. We grew up playing outside with our friends and playing in the rain and running around and go fishing and running around in like the bushes next door, playing around, like having little get-togethers with our friends. Like that's normal everywhere, but like we did more things in nature and enjoyed life with what the world has given to us, like what nature has given to us, as opposed to sitting inside and playing video games all the time and just going to school and then video games, go to your friend's house, play video games, come home, play video games, TV, that's your life.
I feel like I've learned so much about people in general, like just start, okay, for example, like my internship, like I've been really able to learn about like learning about disability in Ghana, like what does that look like? How do people with disabilities get access to, you know, healthcare or like educational services, or just how can they integrate into society? And it's very, very different than what I've learned in America and how people with disabilities are able to like be and coexist among societies, because it's something that I could read like on the news, or I could read like through scholarly journals, but I won't actually be able to really understand that until I'm here and I see it manifest here. It'll really equip me to understand like just people in general, so I can work with like multiple people when I grow up.
I think every moment has been a happy moment for me, because it has helped me experience like a lot culturally. There are some things I didn't know about my own culture that through you guys I know, and other cultures too. Just recently we went for a Diwali celebration, and I just loved the food. I was just eating and I was happy. So like, it has helped me see things in a different way.
I got so attached with everyone in a different way. So I'm going to miss every one of you. And it's going to be really hard for me. But I know that's how life is. That's why we have a reunion. So you come back and we meet again.
Being out here, I have found like the importance of just listening to me and listening to like my inner self and like listening to like the many voices that is in my head, like the many different personality that is up in there. I personally like just learned to like hold back my tongue and just sit there and listen to people's perspective. Because we all have a story to tell, and if I tell you your story is wrong, that's like so wrong of me. Like I'm like the worst person on this planet if I sit there and tell a person that story is wrong, or that perspective, or how to see the world, or Christianity, or anything else is wrong, or anything like that.
I hope you all enjoyed it, and bye.
May the sun rise and set again with you under it.
I am a DJ, we say, my boss said, Jumadi, na empire, and say, we be able to see, Kakramans Makane, a baby, no, so they are this year. But that's it.
Hey, Charlie, with the Bible.
Nyawala don akeshinya babiene niyo bakwe wo mangana.
Me pacho, wo pese wo sisi.
Hey, Charlie. We da.
Da ye. I think I said that right.
Yebeshebio. Etre.